In episode 2, Dina and Allie flee from the cops, but they know that they need to get to Margot and Charlie ASAP. The issue is, Allie is still handcuffed, and they've got the cops on them. So they pull the car over and they create what they hope to be a distraction, opening up a manhole cover, dropping a flashlight, and then taking off to an abandoned building in the opposite direction. Allie has Dina grab a soda can, and she uses that to pick the lock on the handcuffs and free Allie. The problem is, at this point, the police have shown up, and they figured out that the open manhole cover was just a red herring. Luckily, though, Allie and Dina are able to escape as the cops are searching the abandoned building for them. But once they get to the street and are kind of safe, Dina asks, how much trouble are you actually in? And Allie says, enough. I can't really get into the details of it, at least not tonight. She then asks Allie, all right, what's next? And he says, okay, so we're going to meet up with Charlie and your mom, and then we're going to head down to Mexico. And that was not in her plans at all. She's trying to make sense of it all, that they're just going to flee the country, asking, well, who are we going to go down there and meet? And he says, people we can trust. She tries to get the plan out of Allie. We're just going to head down to Mexico and meet up with your friends and live with them for a little bit. I mean, and then what? Because I had plans. I was going to go to school. I was going to get a life. So he promises her to get somewhere safe, and then they'll start thinking of the next steps for her. He promises that she can eventually come back to the U.S. a whole new woman. She then asks about the people that they're going to meet in Mexico, and Allie reassures her that they're not dangerous. They're really just tree huggers who like yoga. She agrees to go with him, but says, I need to call Grandma first. And he doesn't really care because his mother-in-law already knows where they are, so a phone call to alert her to the fact that Dina isn't on the bus isn't that big of a deal all of a sudden. The issue is, Dina doesn't call her grandmother. She ends up calling Josh, and Josh is currently being interrogated by those people that were chasing Allie. Well, it turns out they're NSA agents. And the two agents are named Agent Estelle Jones and Agent Don Voorhees. And they're trying to get any information they can out of Josh about where Dina might have gone. But Josh doesn't really know anything. So when Dina calls up, Josh doesn't pick up the phone, but Agent Jones does. She picks up the phone and starts trying to do damage control. None of us like the situation. Are you safe? Trying to get Dina and Allie's location out of her. Dina asks Agent Jones, what did he do? Why are you doing this to him? And Jones flips it on Dina, saying, well, the better question is, why is he doing this to you? Why is he making you live this kind of life? And Dina gives this philosophical answer about how America sucks and how we're wasteful. It's the prototypical answer from a first-year grad student who just got finished reading Gordon Wood. But the conversation leads to nowhere because Dina eventually hangs up without giving the NSA agent any information whatsoever. Dina and Allie meet up with Charlie and Margot, and they take off. But now the issue for the Fox family is they need money. So Allie drives the family to his work. And while the kids wait in the car, Margot and Allie rob the safe in his boss's office. Margot grabs the cash, and Allie used the computer to hop on the dark web and make contact with a guy in Mexico who he's trying to link up with. Allie then leaves a very obvious note to let the boss know that he was the one who stole the money because he figures we're never coming back here anyway, it doesn't matter. But before he leaves town, he goes to visit one of his friends at work, a guy who is perfect for their situation, a guy who came over illegally from Mexico, because this guy gives Allie the name of a coyote. If you're unaware of what a coyote is, it's a guy who gets paid to transport people from Mexico over the border illegally. But unlike most situations with coyotes, Allie and his family aren't trying to go from Mexico to America. They're trying to go from America to Mexico. Either way, this guy's in Arizona, and the family drives off. But Allie's little note made it pretty obvious of who did it. And when the boss ends up calling the police, the name Allie Fox ends up ringing off alarms. So the NSA agents show up, looking for any information they can get on who might have helped Allie. And it doesn't take long before the coworker's name pops up. So the NSA agents meet with him and give him an ultimatum. Tell us where you sent Allie, or we're deporting you. At that point, it's not really an option, so the guy tells him, well, I gave him a name of a guy in Arizona, and gives him the address. Figuring that at this point, Allie had probably already made contact with this guy, and in fact, he had. The coyote's name is Juan, and his brother is Chewy. But when Allie shows up, he's not exactly greeted with a warm welcome. He drops the name Hector, who was the guy who gave Allie Juan's information, but Juan tells him, do you know how many Hectors I know? Sorry, man, I'm not your guy. And Allie persists, and finally Juan says, look, man, I was your guy. I used to be your guy. I'm not your guy anymore. I can give you names of other people, but I'm not your guy. The reality is, you're white Americans. Just go to the border. And Allie explains that's not an issue. Neither is putting on a hat because they have facial recognition. They need to do this covertly. That's why they need Juan and his skill set. and they need to do it ASAP, so giving him another name isn't really going to work. Juan, though, basically says, yeah, sorry, man, tough shit. And then Allie notices that Juan is wearing an ankle monitor, and he figures he's doing that because Juan filed for asylum. And the reason he doesn't want to go to Mexico is because the guy that he's claiming asylum from is in Mexico. The ankle monitor would obviously pick that up. So Allie tells him, I can get those off of you. And at first, Juan doesn't believe that's even possible, but Allie convinces him with a bag full of cash and dreams of actually being able to go to a bar again. So as Margot and Dina wait in the house, Charlie sets up a Faraday cage. If you're unaware of what a Faraday cage is, it keeps electromagnetic stuff inside. So basically, a lot of aluminum foil. They put that all over a car. Juan gets in and Allie takes off the ankle monitor, saying that the signal can no longer get out. So as far as the police are concerned, he's still where he is. And the new signal is hooked up to that burner cell phone that Allie tossed out the window but then went back for. So now that Juan is ankle monitor free, he fills up a bunch of liters of water, piles everybody into his truck, and they head off for the desert. And right after they leave is when Agent Jones and Agent Voorhees end up showing up at the location. And they meet with the local sheriff who lets them know about the fake ankle monitors. Because of that, they could be anywhere. Of course, the two agents know they're heading for the border. And the sheriff tells them that the Border Patrol is stretched pretty thin. So they figure that Allie is probably headed to a place that's not heavily monitored by the Border Patrol. A place that's really tough to cross. And that's when Voorhees says, yeah, but you have local militia, right? Like volunteers who monitor the border. Why don't you just put a call out to them? And the sheriff ends up doing that. And as Allie and his family are making their way, they end up accidentally running into one of those militia groups. Although the militia group that they run into hasn't gotten word to be on the lookout for Allie and his family. But these gun-wielding Tommy Toughnuts do end up stopping their car and have a standoff, if you will, with Juan and his truck. Eventually, Allie says, look, I'll talk to him. And Allie gets out and lies to the leader that what they're doing out there is monitoring condors. When the militia leader asks, okay, but what's up with the two Latinos in the car? Allie, being really quick on his feet, says, oh, well, my ex-wife is in the back with our two kids, and the one on the left is my husband, and that's his cousin. And since Allie is answering all this guy's questions pretty convincingly, the guy tells his little militia, all right, let's get going. But as he heads back to the truck, that's when they get word to keep on the lookout for a family fitting Allie's description. And as Allie is walking back to Juan's truck, the militia raise up their guns and tell them to get on the ground. They start screaming at the family to get out, but Allie is telling the family to get back in the truck. All the while, Juan and Chewie have guns at the wayside. And eventually, when the militia demands that they get out of the truck, they don't. Instead, pointing their guns at the militia, and now they've got a standoff. Doesn't last long, though, because shots end up firing out, and Chewie pretty much takes out all of the militia. Unfortunately, though, Juan ends up getting shot and killed in the process. And he's upset and emotional, but he still has a job to do. So he dumps his brother's body in the desert and then continues to escort Allie and his family towards the border. And a little while later, another militia group ends up finding the truck and the bodies. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this sucked. Make sure to be nice in the comment section. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen there, I'll get it up in a few days, not to worry. And I have merchandise, so go buy a mug or something. It's never too early to think about Christmas gifts, folks. But once again, thank you for checking out this recap.